Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you on today's edition of The Breakfast Show. And in our first topic this morning, we'll be discussing the latest efforts by the state to deal with issues related to human development in Egypt. Of course, the Egyptian state has made many efforts to achieve comprehensive and sustainable development in Egypt and deal with many challenges facing the country. These developments come in various levels, either economically, also health, education, as well as infrastructural development, all towards sustainable development goals in Egypt. And to over the time, His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former assistant to the Foreign Minister. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning, good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us this morning. And of course, today we'll be discussing some of the recent developments with regards to human resources. What is the extent of progress in Egypt when it comes to developing human capabilities, Mr. Ambassador?
Of course, if we analyze the Egyptian wealth, one of the main topic there is human resources.
Yes.
We are a wealthy country concerning our people. They exceed 100 million inhabitants. We have working forces more than 40 million inhabitants. We have Egyptians living abroad and adding to the economies they are living there, 11 million Egyptians. We have 4 times win the Nobel Prize since Sadat, Zuhail, Naguib Mahfouz, and Mohammed al-Baradei. So this is the quality of the people of Egypt, and we hope that we shall keep this wealth and make it better and better by training, by sending them to areas where we can benefit more and more.
Yes.
It is a matter of education, health care, housing, name it. And really, our country is doing its best effort in order to keep this wealth in good condition and even better.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, now tell us a bit about your insight with regards to state initiatives such as the Decent Life Initiative, for example, and how it has contributed to issues like job and employment creation, job opportunities, especially for the youth.
It is a chain of efforts. Everything would add to the quality of Egyptian person.
Yes.
And all of us, we are trying to do this. In my very small project, I have 30 colleagues. 5 of them were adding to their knowledge by gaining a PhD in economy, in science, and many things. Even the smallest member in this regard, one of them is an office boy. We send him to learn how to drive. We send him to learn more and more how to write and to read. Some of them, we send them to learn how to deal with the computer science. Even the office boy. And all of them now are in a better condition. So if we do that everywhere, training, especially in some industrial knowledge, this will add to our economic wealth, of course.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, speaking about the other side of the coin, how important, is the participation of women, whether it the economic sphere or the political sphere? Egypt now is boasting a great participation of women all around in different sectors. So how does this work towards sustainable development? And we've seen lots of small, medium enterprises also being started up and headed by women, enabling their economic empowerment.
I say I am proud that I'm from generation and the group in the Egyptian diplomacy with the first lady diplomat, Huda al-Marazi, the late Huda al-Marazi. And I met in my small world of diplomacy many ladies which are enormously successful. Aisha Ratib, Mirvat Tilawi. I don't want
To miss any names,
forget
yes.
anybody. But now in the cabinet we have 8 ministers, ladies.
Yes.
This is good. And every day now we see an addition. In the juries we have ladies. In many places, ladies are knocking the door and proving that they themselves as a good force. They are half of our community.
Absolutely.
And we have to make, and they need to add to our wealth, to our knowledge, and really the Egyptian ladies are doing a very good job, and I hope for much more and much better situation.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Ambassador, to what extent do you see, the importance of initiatives related to health and education, housing, infrastructural development, all these initiatives run and headed by the Egyptian government? How important are they in the development of conditions for Egyptian citizens and in the development of human resources capabilities?
It is an effort which will make the country's economy benefit, and the person himself is becoming much more effective, so he can gain more, he can be much more able to add to his own wealth, to add to his country's wealth. So in every single project of any development process, we have a sector for human resources development. And I worked a lot about this with the help of our main partners in economy, whether the Europeans or Americans or else, where they add to us. Take the German who gave us the Cool Mubarak project to give an addition to our practical education. And many examples like that, we can have a look on it. So we need practical education also, because theoretical education is good but not good enough. It doesn't cover all our needs.
So there is a need to bridge the gap between the education and the workforce needs.
Exactly. And training is the word. And we learn a lot along the way we are going on. And our partners, especially in Europe, are keen to help us in this field.
This regard, right. Let's talk a bit about, when you're speaking about, improving the standard of living Egyptian citizens and their quality of life. How important do you see, Mr. Ambassador, the enhancement of community participation to develop this process?
We have two sides of the coin here. One, that we are keen to develop our country in order to make our economy grow positively, and thank God that we are one of rare countries who are still growing positively. Haris Said told us yesterday, we expect this year a growth rate of 5%. While in Europe, even in Germany, they are diminishing, their economies are diminishing.
Yes, they have a recession.
China, United States, because of the problem of the epidemic of corona, and the problems came through the war in Ukraine. Egypt has faced this before because we started our economic reform early enough in November 2016. So when we faced those two problems, we were already standing on strong feet. So this is a sort of experience. Very rare countries succeed to face it. Egypt is among them. And we have a lot to give as experience to our partners in order to see what we are doing. This is one side of the coin. The other side, that we want a fair distribution of wealth. And this is exactly what the government and the president are doing on daily basis, to go to new areas where the government was not there any time, to give the chance to work, the chance for better education, better health care, and to go for housing. Look around yourself, then you premises which we are establishing for the needy classes. This is a huge effort, and we have to double it, because I want every single Egyptian to feel that this development is for him, not for anybody else.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, in a report that was published by the Human Development Report, state result of development economic performance in Egypt has indicated a decline in the unemployment rate in Egypt, which has now dropped below 7.5%, which is a number that we haven't seen in many years. In 2009, 2010, we had a 12% unemployment rate. What does this indicate with regards to the economic sustainable development in Egypt and job creation opportunities?
It means that we are on the right track. And also on another side, it answers those who are questioning why we are building roads and building bridges and all these infrastructure efforts. This means that this sort of investment is creating much more jobs than any other sector. So, of course, we are building industry. We are widening our agriculture process and agriculture efforts. And we, of course, if we produce, how we can export or send our merchandise all over the country. And I want to stress here that I lived for some time in Germany. And Germany, after the Second World War, was totally destroyed. And what they call the German miracle came through many things, among them one very important sector, which is building roads.
Yes.
In order to be anywhere you want, if you provide everywhere of your country with merchandise, with services, you need roads, you need bridges. And
accessibility.
This is normal, of course.
Yes, accessibility.
So, this is what I want to tell our audiences, because many of them are asking why so many roads and so many bridges.
Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned a very important issue, which is the need to promote Egyptian industries, Egyptian products, in order to reach a higher export levels with regards to these products. How important is it to bridge the gap between imports and exports and to really make Egyptian industries globally renowned?
Here I want to tell our audience that we shouldn't exaggerate about our imports. Countries make their development by exporting, not by stop importing. No country can produce everything it needs. Take the United States, which is the largest economy in the world.
Yes.
It is at the same time the largest importer of the world. China, with all its means, which is the second largest economy in the world, is importing. It is the second importer in the world. So no country can live without imports. And in Egypt, I studied these figures quite well. And I realized that 70% of what we are importing is very important things, like machines, like transport means and technology, and food. So we are importing luxurious goods, and many people are laughing at we are importing caviar and shrimps. Yes, we are importing by small quantities for the tourists, not for us. We are not living a luxurious life. So, in order to answer your question, in order to solve our problem, it is to produce more and to export more, not to stop importing at all.
Yes, and to do this, in order to do this, how do we need to promote Egyptian industries? How do you see this as a main aim in order to reach this increase of exports?
Since the 90s, we have a huge program, which is industrial modernization program. And it has its difficulties at the beginning. Now it is going ahead under the office of the Ministry of Industry, and we have to enlarge this industrial modernization, and we have to apply all the experience of our friends all over the world. whether it's in China or America or Europe. Even in Africa, we can learn a lot there. So industrial modernization is the word.
And how do you see the steps that Egypt has taken with regards to diversification of trading partners? They've moved from their traditional, trading partners to new partners that has really opened new fields for Egyptian exports.
This is a very important point. And when I study about the relation, the inter-relation, Arab especially, trade, I found that the intra-trade among Arabs is not enough. Why? Because 70% of what we import, we do not produce. So we have to, as you said, diversify our products and produce whatever we need. And this is the way, not to stop importing, but to produce more everywhere.
And how can this, Mr. Ambassador, be partnered with new fiscal and monetary policies to assist with this development?
This is one thing we have to talk a lot about it, the monetary policy in Egypt. We have to accept the realities that our currency should be treated according to realities, not to support our currency without any reason. We must produce more, export more, and this will be by itself a good way in order to support our Egyptian pound.
Absolutely. And another important I wanted to talk to Ambassador is, foreign direct investments as well as foreign investors that are attracted to come to Egypt, start their businesses, even in light of the global economic challenges with the Russian-Ukrainian situation and the post-COVID condition of the markets. But still, Egypt is a very fertile area for foreign investors. How do we achieve this very important advantage, in your opinion?
The good thing that although we are facing all these problems, whether the epidemic of COVID-19 or in Ukraine, its economic impacts negatively, that Egypt is still growing. And we have faced this in a quite good way. So I think we are on the right track, but we have to double our efforts in order to continue making every single person of this and citizen of this country feel that we are on the right track. And the good news is that Egypt is the largest investment attractor as a country among the Arab world and in Africa. All the international monetary organizations are telling us that Egypt is attracting foreign direct investment much more than any country in our area. And if this is not good, we have to double our efforts. We have to make our bureaucracy work much more faster.
Yes.
Our banking system needs more and more development. It's working. I personally join the effort to make our banking system better by making a sort of twinning between our banking system and the central bank of Europe and 8 European countries in order to apply the Basel standard, Basel I, Basel II, Basel III. And we spend a lot, 60 million Egyptian pounds we spend on training in the banking area. Many things we have to do. The legal process in Egypt is, as many developing countries, is a little bit slow. We have to make it better. Many things we have to tackle in order to make the life of an investor much better.
Absolutely right. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very, very much, sir, for your time. Wish you a very good morning. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back for more on today's edition of The Breakfast Show.